The sine and cosine rules are used to find sides and angles in triangles which are not right-angled. This video looks at the cosine rule. There are two forms of the cosine rule, one for finding unknown sides and the other for finding unknown angles. We're going to start with this one, which is used for finding an unknown side of a triangle when you know two other sides and the angle in between them. Let's have a look at an example. With cosine rule questions, it's probably best not to start out by writing out the formula. The labelling of your triangle is unlikely to match the A, B and C that are used in the statement of the cosine rule. So rather than learn the statement of the cosine rule in terms of A, B and C, it's probably best to learn the form of this formula. It goes like this. The square of the unknown side is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides minus twice their product times the cosine of the angle in between them. Looking at the diagram, the unknown side squared is equal to the sum of the other two sides squared minus twice their product times the cosine of the angle in between them. That is x squared equals 5.3 squared plus 3.4 squared minus 2 times 5.3 times 3.4 times the cos of 130. Now once you've got that written down, it's just a matter of a bit of arithmetic and calculator work. There's another worked example presented here, but we're going to come back to that later and skip straight down to some questions which we can do together. In the first one, we say that x squared equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides minus twice their product times the cosine of the angle between them. So it's x squared equals 3.6 squared plus 5.4 squared minus 2 times 3.6 times 5.4 times the cosine of the angle in between 3.6 and 5.4. That's 78 degrees. From there on, you can do everything on your calculator. Don't forget to take the square root to find your answer. With this type of question, I recommend that students do the whole thing on their calculator all in one step. It'll come out okay with this particular type of question and it'll probably save you from making a few errors on the way. Let's try another one. It's well set up for the cosine rule because the question involves three sides and the angle is between the two known sides. So it's x squared equals 2.9 squared plus 4.6 squared minus 2 times 2.9 times 4.6 times the cosine of 118 degrees. Notice the 118 degrees is between the known sides 2.9 and 4.6. You can do the maths here and you will come down to your answer. Now let's return to the other form of the cosine rule, which is useful when you wish to find out an unknown angle. For this, you need to know all three of the sides. And take a look at the formula. Look at the numerator in particular. We've got b squared plus c squared minus a squared. In this formula, b and c are the two sides which form the angle which you're trying to find. And a is the side which is furthest away or opposite the angle which you are trying to find. Let's look at it in the context of a worked example. In this question here, the way that I set up the formula, I say that cos theta equals 7 squared plus 8 squared minus 10 squared on the numerator. Now the two sides that I add together there, 7 and 8, are the two sides which form angle theta. They're the sides around angle theta. And the 10 squared, which I take away, that's the side which is opposite angle theta. Then we have to divide that by 2 times 7 times 8. Now the rest of that is just arithmetic and you can do it on your calculator to come up with the answer. Let's try one of those for ourselves. We've got to find angle theta, so it's going to be 7.2 squared plus 8.1 squared. Those are the two sides around angle theta, the two sides that form angle theta, minus 10.3 squared. That's the side which is furthest away or opposite angle theta. I'll divide it by 2 times 7.2 times 8.1. Now when you do this, I strongly recommend that you, if you're doing it on your calculator, do it in several steps. Don't try and do the whole thing all in one step on your calculator, or you'll surely be led into error. Work out the top line first and then the bottom line separately. Write them both down and then do the rest of the steps on your calculator. This question involves some tricky order of operation steps. Unless you have your about you, you are bound to make a mistake. The only other way you could possibly do it is to put the whole top line in brackets and the whole bottom line in brackets, and that could save you from error. But I recommend the best way is to do the top line, write it down, do the bottom line, write it down, and then evaluate it. Once you've got your value for cos theta, of course we have to use the inverse cos to find out the angle that's got a cos value, in this case of 0.09739. Final answer, 84 degrees and 24 minutes.